But the all-seeing God, I can see what is clear. I'm the MC that they never want to battle cause they fear.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joey. Come on, America, you still believe in this bullshit? You about to celebrate the 4th of July for what? What are you celebrating the 4th of July for? Why are the soldiers celebrating the 4th of July? For what? I was taught in school that to be independent from the King of England. And America fought for its independence. All that shit is a fucking lie. It's adequate knowledge that they teach us in school about the truth about what's really going on. School is just to raise us to be a yes man, to be a pin pusher, to obey authority and don't question shit. That's why our children in the school system is failing all around the fucking board. And they want to raise interest rates on our students to be in debt to the bankers for adequate knowledge. The reason why I'm bringing this to you today, excuse me, my name is the Raw Journalist, Mike Rambo. Free press, raw journalism. That's what I put out. So you might hear a lot of swearing, a lot of cussing, and I really don't give a fuck how you feel because it's still America, right? We still have a freedom of speech, quote unquote. So I'm doing my video blog and I'm doing my part of putting this out there because I see the corruption, what's going on. The tyranny has no walls. And once again, I just don't understand how the American soldiers who are fighting in this war are some of the stupidest, gullible motherfuckers there could be. And you're dying and sacrificing yourself for Israel, for Zionism, for Queen Elizabeth, so they can secure their little part in the world and take over this shit. Need to be home taking these domestic terrorists out in Washington, D.C., which is a private corporation. And I'm about to get into why America is a private corporation and how it's still owned by the King of England, whose heir is Queen Elizabeth. And I challenge anyone to disprove this. Try to, please don't believe what I say. Please misprove this. Please. It's time to wake the fuck up. It's time to see the truth for what it really is. Or it's just sit back and just allow the rape. So let's get into it.
Like the city-state of London and the Vatican, a third city-state was officially created in 1982.
Okay.
That city-state is called the District of Columbia and is located on 10 square miles of land in the heart of Washington.
Okay.
The District of Columbia flies its own flag and has its own independent constitution.
Really?
Although geographically separate, the city-states of London, the Vatican, and the District of Columbia are one interlocking empire called Empire of the City. The flag of Washington's District of Columbia has 3 red stars, one for each city-state in the 3-city empire. This corporate empire of 3 city-states controls the world economically through London's inner city.
Controls America through the economic system through London. Rothschilds, who controls the Federal Reserve, who controls the IRS, what is privately owned by them. Queen Elizabeth privately owns the Federal Reserve and the IRS. That's why your $23 trillion went to the bankers and not your dumb ass. And you ain't do shit about it.
Militarily, through the District of Columbia.
Militarily, we the fucking bullies of the planet. We do what we want to do to countries, blow them up at nighttime, killing children, fund Israel, killing Palestinians. We just, oh man, we the bullies of the planet, DC. And there's a huge pedophilia ring corporation going on with kidnapping children, molesting children, sacrificing children. This is what they do, big business.
The Constitution for the District of Columbia operates under a tyrannical Roman law known as Lex Fori.
Lux Fori, please look it up. I'm leaving links Please, wake up, America. You've been had. We've been bamboozled.
Which bears no resemblance to the U.S. Constitution. When Congress passed the Act of 1871, it created a separate corporate government for the District of Columbia. This treasonous act allowed the District of Columbia to operate as a corporation outside the original Constitution of the United States and outside of the best interests of American citizens.
Really? America, you're not in debt. The Corporation of America is in debt. You've been lied to. Wake up, snap out of it. Obamacare just got shoved down your throat, bitches.
A sobering study of the signed treaties and charters between Britain and the United States exposes a shocking truth. The United States has always been, and still is, a British crown colony. King James I was famous not for just changing the Bible into the King James Version.
King James of the Bible signed America over to Queen Isabella in 1606, First Charter of Virginia.
But for signing the First Charter of Virginia in 1606. That charter granted America's British forefathers a license to settle and colonize America. The charter also guaranteed that future kings and queens of England would have sovereign authority over all the citizens and colonized land in America stolen from the Indians.
Stolen from the Indians. Remember that word? Sovereign. Sovereign. Look the definition up in the Black Laws Dictionary and then look it up in the Webster.
After America declared its independence from Great Britain, the Treaty of 1783 was signed. That treaty specifically identifies the King of England as the Prince of the United States and contradicts the belief that America won the War of Independence.
That's why you still pay taxes to the fucking IRS, you dumb fucks. Wake up. Who is FICA? FICA is Great Britain. I'm going to tell you after this.
Although King George III of England gave up most of his claims over his American colonies, he kept his right to continue receiving payment for his business venture of colonizing America.
Wow.
If America had really won the War of Independence, they would never have agreed to pay debts and reparations to the King of England. When Congress passed the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, the U.S. President was made subservient to the King of England. The 13th Amendment is called the Title of Nobility Amendment and forbids U.S. presidents and their officials from using royal titles like king or prince or baron.
Wow.
For some mysterious reason, the 13th Amendment, which was ratified in 1810,
for some mysterious reason, ratified in 1810?
no longer appears on current copies of the Constitution.
Wow. How was that? Who controlled that?
America's blood-soaked War of Independence against the British bankrupted America and turned its citizens into permanent debt slaves of the king.
Damn, this sounds like the same shit that's going on back then. We in debt to the Federal Reserve, who is probably owned by the Queen of the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, and the Rothschilds, and the IRS. So we borrow money with interest to go to war to take over Palestine and run the whole Middle East. Okay. Wow. And being permanent debt slaves to them, the Federal Reserve. Like our children is when they go to school, to college, and be in debt to the bankers again. Wow, what a future for American kids.
In the War of 1812, the British torched and burned to the ground the White House and all U.S. government buildings and destroyed ratification records of the U.S. Constitution.
Wow. That's crazy.
1 century later, a corrupt U.S. Congress committed the biggest theft in world history. They passed Paul Warburg's Federal Reserve Act in 1913, handing over America's gold and silver reserves and total control of America's economy to the Rothschild banksters.
This is what Ron Paul talking about, audit the Fed, but it's not going to happen.
Most Americans still believe that the Fed, or Federal Reserve, is the government. It is not. The Fed is a privately owned banking system whose majority Class A shareholders are the Rothschilds, Warburgs, Kuhn & Loeb, J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, Israel Seif, and the Lehman Brothers.
Who Class A shareholders. So we going to war for them. they paying both sides of the war, and we being in debt for the interest being put on this fictitious fiat currency that they print out of thin air, and you thinking that you in debt.
This private banking cartel is the Fed and is never audited and never pays taxes. They print and design America's money, which displays their symbols of an Egyptian pyramid, a Masonic all-seeing eye, and the words "In God We Trust." Who exactly is the God they trust?
Gold, oil, and drugs.
They also collect American taxpayers' money through the IRS. Then they loan it back again with interest to pay for roads, bridges, and other public works.
That's something. They just fucking you all around, America, and you ain't doing shit.
Most U.S. citizens believe that the United States is a country and that the president is the most powerful man on earth. The United States is not a country. It is a corporation, and the president is president of the corporation of the United States. He and his elected officials work for the corporation, not for the American people.
So saying that, why are you fighting for this war again? For democracy. None of these politicians' children is fighting in that war. None of these big corporations' children is fighting in this war. You laying the foundation for them to live comfortably while your ass and your family getting kicked out. While you fighting over here in Afghanistan, your family's getting kicked out of their house. This is why America is another corporation. This is why it's a corporation. This is why we are livestock, okay? This is my daughter's birth certificate. It's a live birth certificate. It's a live birth right here at the top. It'll tell you live birth, okay? This is a Maryland joint. This is a book-long copy or with the signatures of the doctor. This is what you need for your sovereignty too, people. You need your long book copy, okay? It's the same price, but you just got to request it. You see this number right here? This is what they operate out of the Treasury right here. This number right here. Okay, this is the question right here, Americans. If America is not a corporation, then check this out. Why is your birth certificate a banknote? Why is your birth certificate a banknote, America? Why is every American born in America birth certificate is a banknote? Why is your child a banknote? You see my daughter's name? It's all capitalized. See that? That's the corporation. That's not the real living person. That's not the real living person right there. Like I just showed you. Why is your birth certificate, when your child is born, why is that? Because America being in debt sold us out to the banks for collateral, for being in debt. So therefore, through the birth certificate, we give them the power of attorney over us through the birth certificate. Your straw man, it's created. That's who get taxed. That's who go to jail. It's not a conspiracy theory no more, okay? And this is another thing. How did a little girl, in the 7th grade, find out that all the presidents are related? This was a conspiracy theory and when I was coming up, and all these conspiracy theory books, but conspiracy theories are happen to become conspiracy facts.
On the School Watch tonight, the story of a 7th grader from Salinas who claims to have made a major discovery about President Obama. She and her grandfather say that President Obama is related to all but one U.S. president. We get more tonight from Action News reporter Felix Cortez, who's live in our Salinas newsroom.
Well, Dan, the youngster spent the summer, really all summer, tracing the family tree of our presidents. Her conclusion that all the presidents, with the exception of one, share the same grandfather.
Well, first we start off with George Washington at the top, and then it goes to John Adams, Thomas Jefferson.
11-year-old Bridget Dovigneau says she's made a first-of-its-kind discovery that President Obama and all the presidents before him, with the exception of one, are related and descendants of a former king of England.
No.
Descendants of a former king of England. All the presidents. And we fought for your independence, and you celebrating the 4th of July? For what? You stupid. You're a fucking oxymoron. But it's not your fault because you talk proper English, you went to the top schools, you graduated college, you graduated high school, you're smarter than everybody. Really? Come on, man. Whatever. John Lackland, King of England. Come on, man. Signed the Magna Carta, 1215.
Well, they're all cousins, and they're grandsons of John Lackland.
John Lackland. Wow. Is this a conspiracy theory? No, it's not. And all these fucking soldiers who are sacrificing their lives for Israel, for the King of England, to take over other poor people's country, colonizing and taking over mass war, mass bloodshed. That's what war is. Legalized mass bloodshed. President Obama or Bush have no power over our fucking military forces. The United Nations have total control over our United States military. Thanks to Bill Clinton. Think I'm a joke? Check this out.
Think that you can act without Congress and initiate a no-fly zone in Syria without congressional approval?
You know, again, our goal would be to seek international permission, and we would come to the Congress and inform you and determine how best to approach this, whether or not we would want to get permission from the Congress. I think those are issues we would have to discuss as we decide what to do here.
Discuss with who? He said they don't have to come to Congress to do shit, to send our fucking family members into a war. Who runs the United Nations? Who funded that? Who put that together? Fucking London, Rothschilds, Queen Elizabeth, Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan. I thought it wasn't going to be no more world wars after World War II. Here we go, colonizing, taking these people land, man. Going to Africa, going to these fucking indigenous people lands, taking their land for natural resources, when we got the fucking natural resources that will end all fucking poverty, our fossil fuel problem, everything. And that's hemp. So the UN is telling your Congress that, the fucking Secretary of the State is telling your fucking the Congress that they don't got power. The UN got the power to send America into war. So you're fighting for fucking the UN, Americans, soldiers. You're stupid. Wake up. The domestic terrorists are in fucking D.C. How is it that private corporations like Halliburton, who Dick Cheney is the vice president of, and who also is indicted on fucking charges and privatizing jails, and ain't even been in court on them shits yet. So you fighting to end the fucking for democracy of these people, really? Come on, soldiers, you're being had, you're being fucked, and when you die, your death benefits go to the big corporations. They don't even get that money to your family. I can pull shit up on the internet, I can pull news articles, I can pull Katie Couric talking about this shit. This is not no fucking conspiracy theory. You all are a sacrifice. You all are a fucking pawn, like Henry Kissinger said. So all these stupid ass Americans waving your flag, you need to fucking do your research. What the fuck is America? Because this land was stolen too from the Indians, and now it's been stolen by the Zionists, big corporations who run this shit, man. It's not a fucking good. It's not a conspiracy theory no more. If you want to beat the system, if we want to beat this system, we have to come together as a collectiveness. Fuck all the black, white bullshit. There's only one race, the human race. We have to stop working. We all win. If you stop working, you stop paying bills, you keep your car, you keep your house, okay? Then we can start growing our own crops, our own fruits and vegetables, organically. We can start growing hemp, use it for oil to power our cars. We can run cars off of water. We can release the free energy technology to power our houses forever. We do not need a government. These dudes are purposely sending us down the drain, okay? And then your tax publication with FICA. If you read the tax publication in FICA, who takes the most tax money out your paycheck, it says to pay the government of Great Britain and Ireland the second last installment of the amount awarded by the commissioners under the Treaty of July 1863. I'm going to leave the links up for you. I love y'all. It's time to wake the fuck up. One love.